Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle and Global TV. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Edikan Michael. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that his administration will provide adequate funds to develop the education sector. Tinubu was represented by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Jibril Baru, who gave the assurance during the 8th convocation ceremony of Federal University, Oye-Ekiti, held in Oye-Ekiti. He said his administration was determined to upgrade the standard of education in Nigeria to ensure that every indigent student in each state benefited from the student tertiary loan. He, however, sympathized with the families of two late traditional rulers killed by suspected kidnappers, assuring that his administration will track, arrest, and prosecute the perpetrators and eradicate kidnapping in the state. Following the tragic attacks resulting in the loss of over 200 lives across three local government areas in Plateau State, Bokos, Mango, and Bakini Ladi, President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate establishment of a military barracks. The barracks will be located in Mila Farm in Imba district of Bokos local government area. President Tinubu directed General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff, to coordinate the implementation of this initiative to address the security challenges facing the region. Former Governor of Plateau State Joshua Dariye had made effort to facilitate the establishment of the barracks to halt the continuous attacks that have resulted in loss of life, widespread looting, and destruction of property. The United Kingdom Minister for Business and Trade, Kemi Banuch, who arrived in Nigeria on a 3-day visit, will take forward ongoing efforts by both countries to boost the UK-Nigeria trade relationship and unlock new investment opportunities. Banuch's visit came after the former Foreign Secretary visited Nigeria in August 2023 and last week's UK-Nigeria security and defense talks. This is contained in a statement by Senior Press and Public Affairs Officer, Communications Lead Prosperity and Economic Development of the British High Commission in Abuja, Ndiadi Amaka Eze. While in Nigeria, the statement further indicated that Banuch and the Prime Minister's trade envoy to Nigeria, Helen Grant, will meet with federal government officials, state governors, as well as British and Nigerian business leaders and investors. The Office of Auditor General of the Federation has indicted about 256 ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government for violating external laws and spending billions of naira that were not appropriated in 2020. It was made in the latest 2020 audited report of government finances submitted to the National Assembly by the OAU. Document, which was 2 years later than allowed by the Constitution, reviewed unbudgeted expenditure and unremitted revenue the government covers in the 2020 financial year. The report revealed that 7 billion naira was budgeted for employees' benefit, but a total of 335 billion naira was spent. It also said that the sum of 14 billion naira was spent on subsidies without budgetary provisions. Nurses under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Abuja chapter has protested against the new verification certification guidelines released by the Nigerian Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Nurses expressed displeasure over what they describe as an attempt to hinder their freedom to pursue career opportunities, asking the council to address nurses' welfare, salary scale, shortage of staff, and other rights. The protest carried out at the NMSCN's office in Abuja. They had on February 7, 2024, issued a circular revising the guidelines for requesting verification of certificates for nurses and midwives. The National Inland Waterways Authority has announced plans to remove 5 wrecks obstructing navigation along the Lagos backwaters. The initiative is aimed at addressing boat mishaps and improving waterway safety. This is even as the agency said it will be licensing 2,200 boats and training 1,500 skippers before the end of 2024. The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of NEWA, Mourideen Bala, elaborated that Lagos as the epicenter of inland waterways operations in Nigeria has deployed 5 patrol boats to oversee activities on the state waterways. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested a 42-year-old man taking thousands of concealed opioid pills to insurgent enclave in the Bakin area of Borno State. The Anti-Narcotics Agency also arrested a 6-month pregnant lady and a mother of 3 children and other 3 women for drug trafficking. In major interdictions operations carried out by the operatives. A spokesperson for the NDLA, Femi Babafemi, revealed the development as the agency seized over 7,609 kilograms of assorted illicit drugs in Ed State. The police command in Kano State says the divisional police office in Nasarawa local government area has been engulfed by fire. The State Commissioner of Police, Usani Gumel, disclosed in Kano that the incident occurred in the early hours of Monday. At about 5:45 a.m., the divisional police headquarters was engulfed by fire and major part of the building was burned down completely. Gumel said an investigation was ongoing to unravel the cause. The area had been cordoned off to prevent intrusion by onlookers and miscreants. The arms and ammunition in the office are very safe. The Nigeria Police Federal Capital Territory of Command has paraded 307 suspects who are alleged to be involved in kidnapping and other heinous crimes in the FCT. Kike Lomo-Okere reports that FCT Commissioner of Police CP Benue Edigwe led the tactical teams of the command in the newly launched Operation Velvet to raid a marked black spot in Andemi in Deide Zuba Axis, which is a suburb in the Federal Capital Territory. You're watching News Cycle.
During the search, one English pistol with 15 rounds of 9mm ammunition was recovered from one Ibrahim Tukur, who claimed to be DSS personnel. Other exhibits such as motorcycles, wraps of marijuana, illicit substance and valuables reasonably suspected to have been stolen from innocent residents were equally recovered.
Cleansed and have a peaceful environment. Our int has taken us to an area in Zuba where the kidnappers used to come from their camp, both from Niger, Kaduna, they come from Tafa, from Garam Wuse, from Wuse itself, all in Niger, Kaduna. After kidnapping, they will come to Zuba to rest and enjoy. We went there for a raiding, and you will be surprised. We have raided all these people. There are 297 men and 14 women who are involved in these nefarious activities.
While suspects are still undergoing screening, the Commissioner of Police, FCT, says Operation Velvet, which was introduced to compromise all the tactical teams of the command, is to curb all forms of vehicular criminalities and other crimes in the territory. The Commissioner of Police further cautioned officers against extortion of residents and to adopt professionalism in the discharge of their lawful duties, as security of the populace remains his first priority.
I want to use this medium to warn those people that illegally, because no person gave you any license, to operate, whether you call it Gidandambe or Gidandrama, you better start now, because you cannot remain in FCT. We are going to ensure we are cleansed from here. We are taking all of them to court so that they will face the law. We will operate the best practices, no matter how it is.
He urges residents to report suspicious activities through the emergency phone lines. Kike Lomo-Okere, Global Television News.
This is Global Television, bringing you live broadcasts of News Cycle. Many thanks for staying with us. On a foreign scene, a homemade bomb killed one person and wounded dozens of others in western Cameroon on Sunday. An attack the authorities said may have been carried out by Anglophone separatists. The blast came 2 hours after a parade of school children celebrating Youth Day had passed. The region has been the scene of bloody fighting between armed independence movement and the army since 2016. That was the year President Paul Biya suppressed protests by the English-speaking minorities that feels marginalizing largely French-speaking country. Both sides are regularly accused by international rights groups of committing crimes against civilians. Tribute poured in on Monday for Kenyan running sensation Kelvin Kiptum after a marathon world record holder was killed in a car crash at the age of 24. The favorite for the Paris 2024 Olympics was driving from Kaptagi to Eldoret in the Rift Valley of Western Kenya around 11 p.m. when his car came off the road and hit a tree. Father of two, Kiptum and his Rwanda coach Gevis were killed while a woman passenger was seriously injured. Police said Kelvin Kiptum and Akizima died on the spot, while the passenger Sharon Kozio was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. And while Pelvin's siblings and his petrol hit the street of Chekis, men often swerve to avoid them. Pavel is a conscription officer looking for soldiers for Ukraine's army. But almost 2 years into Russia's full-scale invasion, there is no flood of volunteers to the front line anymore. Most of those who wanted to fight are either dead, injured, or still stuck at the front waiting to be relieved by a new recruit. In the central town of Chis Lake, everywhere, finding them is not easy now that the first burst of enthusiasm and energy has faded. Israel says 2 male Israeli hostages have been rescued in a raid in Rafah amid report of heavy Israeli airstrikes on the southern Gaza city. The Israeli military says the 2 men are in good medical condition. Earlier, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society said Rafah was under attack. Some 1.5 million people are sheltering in the city. It follows warnings from the international community over Israel's planned offensives there. Israel said it had conducted strikes in southern Gaza with Hamas drone health ministry reporting dozens of deaths. There are conflicting reports on the casualties. The AFP news agency reported that around 100 people were killed, citing Gaza's Hamas drone health ministry. Meanwhile, Associated Press reported that at least 50 Palestinians were killed, quoting local hospital officials. A quick look at business. Power Distributions Company overbilled about 7.1 million unmetered electricity consumers between January and September 2023. Analysis of the latest monthly number of overbilled customers shared in the various regulatory interventions for non-compliance with the order on capping of estimated billing to unmetered customers. It was established that the power distributors racked over 105 billion naira as a result of overbilling. Figures computed indicated that Yola Disco overbilled about 42,902 customers to the tune of 541.9 million naira. During the review period, while in Abuja, Disco overbilled 1,823,218 customers by 17.9 billion naira. Benin Disco overbilled 754,849 customers, underestimated billing by 10.5 billion naira, as Enugu Disco overbilled a total of 1,011,422 customers to the tune of 11.9 billion naira during the 9-month period. In the first major judicial auditions on the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, the Federal High Court has affirmed the power of the Nigerian Midstreams and Downstreams Petroleum Regulatory Authority to impose and collect levies on petroleum products sold in Nigeria. In an action filed by IHS Nigeria Limited and INT Towers Limited against the NMPRA, the plaintiffs argued that they were not liable to pay statutory 0.5% levies for the authority fund and the midstreams and downstream gas infrastructure fund and petroleum products they import. The plaintiffs argued that their products were not sold in Nigeria but rather used for their respective business operations and therefore not in the category of petroleum products subject to the levies. The regulator said they also sought for the court to declare 2 key regulations for the implementations of the PIA void and illegal. The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service and the Nigerian Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority, both the agencies of the federal government, have agreed to collaborate in areas of trade facilitation to safeguard Nigeria's agricultural economy on export. Partners in the deal announced this in Abuja, stating that the development was a sequel to a high-level meeting between the Acting Comptroller General, Dr. Godwin Odo, and the Managing Director, Bamaga Jada. Odu said the NAG was committed to promoting trade and protecting Nigeria's agricultural economy while upholding global phytosanitary standards, according to a statement from the agency. adding that the NAQS was ready to support exporters in meeting the standards, facilitating a seamless process for those who adhere to the regulatory requirements. The National Directorate of Empowerment (NDA) has disbursed 50,000 naira each to 48 youth to start off-farm businesses and employ others to reduce unemployment in Borno State. The Director General of the NDA, Abubakar Fikpo, disclosed this during the flag of the Community-Based Agricultural Empowerment Scheme in Maduguri. Represented by the State Coordinator of NDA, Mohammed Gaji Galadima, the DG said the beneficiaries drawn from the pool of rural employment promotion trained in their chosen area of interest. The DG also reaffirmed the NDA's commitment to continue to do its best in addressing challenges of unemployment in the country. Earlier, the representative of the SCABS department from Abuja, Awa Ibrahim, urged the beneficiaries to make good use of the facility and become successful entrepreneurs in the agribusiness. The International Monetary Fund has said stored capital growth, poverty and high food insecurity have exacerbated the ongoing cost of living crisis in Nigeria. The report came amid rising inflation, exchange crisis, weak economic growth and business shutdowns. According to the report, low revenue collections has hampered the provision of services and public investment. It noted that the headlines inflation reached 27% year-on-year in October, food inflation 32%, reflecting the effect of fuel subsidy removal, exchange rate depreciation and poor agricultural production in the country. Equity market investors lost about 1.42 trillion naira in 1 week on the back of waning sentiment and sell-off, particularly by institutional investors. The Special Advisor to Kebbi State Governor on Infrastructure, Abubakar Gari, said the resumption of commercial flight to the state capital will in no small measure improve the economic activities of the people. The advisor stated this at the Sir Ahmed Bello International Airport, Benin, Kebbi, shortly after the flight carrying 69 passengers touched down the first after such activities were suspended several years ago. He said the resumption of the flight was also beneficial to the people of the state in terms of security and expenses because passengers initially coming from Lagos and Abuja will have to land in Sokoto and drive to Kebbi. The advisor noted that the flight will be operated on Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays was the initiative of Governor Nasir Idris without Super Eagles in his passion to provide dividends of democracy to the people of the state. Foreign exchange inflows in the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market surged by 66.7% last week to $2.2 billion after banks complied with the new directives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The bountiful supply was, however, not buoyant enough as the value of Naira dipped by 2.3%. The CBN had issued a series of circulars and guidelines with new macro prudential limit for not opening oppositions as well as removing restrictions on international money transfers operators' exchange rate, quote, as part of effort to boost liquidity and curb the volatility in the foreign exchange market. By the end of last week, inflow of dollars at the window, which is also known as investors and exporters window, surged to $2.2 billion. The value of the Naira and the IE window had depreciated by 2.3% to close the week selling to about 1,469.97 Naira to the dollars, with trades consummated between 830 Naira and 1,550 to the dollar at the official window. As we turn to sport, the Nigeria Super Eagles have expressed disappointment over the defeat at the 2023 CAF African Cup of Nations final. The Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire on Sunday won the 2023 CAF African Cup of Nations final. The Ivory Swords of the Super Eagles on Nigeria in a 10-2-1 defeat. 2 strikes from Frank Kisses and Sebastian Haller were enough to cancel Trusekang's opener. Patrick Mahomes pulled off another Super Bowls comeback on Sunday as the Kansas City Chiefs snatched a thrilling 25-22 overtime victory over the San Francisco 49ers to win their 3rd NFL championship in 5 seasons. In a perfectly scripted finale before a celebrated storied Las Vegas crowd, including pop icon Taylor Swift, Mahomes hits hammers in the end zones with just 3 seconds of overtime remaining to seal a dramatic win in what was the longest Super Bowl in history. The win makes Kansas City the first team to win back-to-back Lombardi trophies in 2 decades, cementing the franchise right to be regarded as the NFL's latest dynasty. And that was it on the news cycle, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, when Star Times channel 276 kindly follows across all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and other handles national on your screen. I am Edikan Michael. Many thanks for watching. See you again.